Sonia Johnson said, "Women have to risk civil disobedience for their rights." This quote describes just one of the many unjust parts of society during the suffrage that women faced, and women were just one of the groups that faced injustice. Suffrage is the right to vote, and not everyone was guaranteed this right, even though an earlier amendment had given everyone equal rights. The 5 stages of the extension of suffrage are: number 1, religious qualifications, property of ownership, and tax payment of qualifications; number 2, race or color; 3, gender; 4, African Americans; and 5, minimum age. To be able to vote in the early 1800s, you had to pass religious tests, tax payment, or property of ownership qualifications. By the early 1850s, nearly every white male could vote.
Prior to 1870, people of all different races and ethnicities were being denied the right to vote. However, in 1870, the 15th Amendment was ratified, which prevented anyone from being denied because of their race or ethnicity.
Before the 1920s, the 19th Amendment did not exist, and women were discriminated against because of their gender and were not allowed to vote. During the 1960s, another movement of African Americans' voting rights came into action. With this came the Voting Rights Act 1965, which finally made it so African Americans had the same voting rights as white.
Go.
Prior to 1971, states were allowed to choose the minimum voting age within their state. However, with the 26th Amendment, the minimum age nationally could not be over 18.
The 5 stages of the extension of suffrage are religious qualifications, property of ownership, and tax payment of qualifications. The 2nd is race or color, the 3rd is gender, and the 4th is African Americans. The 5th is minimum age. Women were just not the only people who experienced suffrage, which is the right to vote. As Sonia Johnson said, women have to risk civil disobedience for their rights. Many people faced injustice during these times.